StopMotion is a 2023 British live-action animated horror movie, co-written and directed by Robert Morgan in his feature-length debut. It stars Aisling Francosi, Tom York, and Carolyn Springall. A stop-motion animator struggles to control her demons after the loss of her overbearing mother.
Hey, she emerges from her cave.
Ella.
When do you think you'll finish this film of yours?
I don't know.
I absolutely love this movie. It is one of those films that I just feel like is made for me. But with that being said, it's not for everyone, and I'll explain what I mean by that. It's really artful, and as someone who came from the art world, did modern art for a long time, I really appreciated and enjoyed the artful way that it's shot, the color design, and the animation. The stop motion animated is very artful. The way they even show her making these figures, moving them, just everything, the way it's done, the attention to detail, I felt was just so amazing in this. And I know a lot of people are just not into that art house kind of horror, and that's fine. So because of that, it might not be your thing. Also, it's definitely a slow burn. It takes its time getting going. But it isn't a slow burn through the entire movie. It just takes its time in the first half, setting up these characters, really laying the landscape of what world you're in, what's going on, the different layers and emotions and things that are going on in it. Because it very much is a character study. It really is about your main character and her dealing with the loss of her mother, her dealing with her own psychosis and delusions and ideas of grandeur, and being an artist and not wanting to sacrifice her art for money and things like that. And so it really goes into that element of who she is. And that explains why the things happen the way they do. And so I found all that to be really interesting and necessary for the type of story that they're telling here. But that's the kind of story that's just not for everyone, and not everybody can identify with that. And I can definitely see some people being bored by it. But as much as it is an art house movie, this is definitely a horror movie. It gets creepy as hell. I honestly think this is one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen. Just so many things they do, and I can't really talk about a lot of them without giving things away, but just the way they connect the stop motion into real life and back and forth. And you're never quite sure when some of the things you're seeing are a stop motion figure or if it's a real figure or the blend of the two. It's really masterfully done, and it gets horrifying. Just the way they interweave gore and just dark, creepy elements, uncomfortable elements, just straight up violence. It's really a lot of fun. And this doesn't hold back on the brutality. When this goes for it, especially in the second act, and you start to see some violence and gore and things like that, people start dying, things along those lines, it doesn't hold back. It shows you in graphic detail, and it is painful, causing you to wince. It's just incredible, though. I was actually sitting there in the final act of this movie with a big, silly grin on my face, knowing that there was only me and one other person in this entire theater watching this movie, but I was loving every second of it. And it's really a shame because this is on such a limited release. I had to drive a little bit, about an hour, to get to a theater that was even playing it. It's only in Regal theaters as far as I know. It might be in a few others, but for the most part, it's just in Regal, and it's not even in every single one of the Regals I've seen. But I still love the fact that it's getting a theatrical release. I love how IFC and Shudder have joined forces to do that and put their best movies in theaters. So even if it's only a small audience, we can still see them the way they're meant to be. Like I've seen Watcher, Resurrected, When Evil Lurks. Just over the last couple years, some of the best movies of the entire year have been Shudder IFC releases, and I just feel so grateful that I was able to see them in theaters. And this is another one that fits right in there with the best that they've put out. Because at this point, this is definitely the best movie this year. Now, will it be in my top 10 by the end of the year? I'm not sure, but I definitely have a feeling it's going to be near the top. The cast do a great job. They all feel like real people. Like, her boyfriend is just such a nice guy, a great boyfriend, and that I thought was refreshing to see a boyfriend that believes their girlfriend somewhat and is sweet to them, is not just this big douchebag like we see so often in horror movies. And her friend group in general, they all feel like genuine people. people that you like, and it doesn't get too deep into their stories. This is really hyper focused on her character and what she's going through, but even those casting choices and characters I thought were well done. I just really appreciated the attention to detail that was put into this. The sound design. You could just hear these weird creaky little noises going on that keep you off kilter, especially in the second half of this movie as it ramps up and gets more and more dark. And this movie gets twisted. It gets extremely uncomfortable. It gets mean and brutal and dark and just absolutely fucked up at one point. But I also love how much they integrate that stop motion animation into it. Because from the trailers and just going in, I didn't know a lot about this. And I thought that it would kind of be something that would be a part of the movie, of course, but I wasn't sure how much they would actually use it. And one, if they would overuse it or underutilize it. But I thought they found a perfect balance where they use it enough, but especially when it really counts. And it's just like nothing I've really ever seen before. It gets just absolutely disturbing. And the titular villain in this, his name is the Ash Man. And I really hope we see more movies in this world because I would love to see more of the Ash Man. He is so haunting and disturbing. I swear, it just gave me chills. And rarely do movies even get to me on much of any level at this point because I've just seen so many horror movies. And I'm not going to say this movie scared me, but I haven't seen anything that truly scared me in I don't even know when. I can't even remember the last time a movie actually scared me. But this movie did haunt me. It did disturb me, and it did stick with me. I still feel the leftover feelings from this movie, and it's been about 24 hours since I saw it, and it still is under my skin and still haunting my mind. Stop motion animation has always creeped me out when it's done in a certain way. And I remember way back in the day when the band Tool released their music video for Sober, and they used this kind of style of stop motion animation. And it was just something that made me feel so uncomfortable back then. And this just takes that and ramps it to like a whole different level. And I really think Aisling Francosi has a bright future. She is incredible in this. Just going from being emotional, sad, scared, like all this range of emotions that she presents in this movie, and they all felt believable, it all felt genuine, and it all was really captivating and keeps you sucked into this film. Because like I said, the movie is hyper focused on her. There are a few other characters, but it really is her that you're so focused on. But I could talk and talk and talk about this movie because like I said, I love it, and I really do think it's gonna be one of my favorite movies this year. But I don't want to spoil anything, and there are definitely some twists and turns and things that could be easily spoiled. So I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to tell you guys that look in your area and see if there's a theater playing this, because you're gonna really wish that you had seen it on the big screen and just had that dark environment around you to creep you out and fully get the experience that this movie should have. But I do know it's in a really limited number of theaters, so it just might not even be possible for you to see. But because it's an IFC Shudder original, it's gonna probably be on Shudder within the next month or so, depending on how long it's in theaters, how well it does. But who knows, maybe if enough buzz gets going, they'll widen their theatrical release and more people can see it. Either way, I think this movie is absolutely badass, and for the right audience especially, if you're someone that enjoys the art house, slow burn, dread-filled kind of horror movies that just have that dark, mean streak running through them, then I think you should absolutely check this one out. But that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys absolutely mean the world to me. And if you would like to find out more about how you can help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch my review of Out of Darkness. And I'll see you guys next time.